Okay, now that I've got all the strips on, the score tape on, and I've taken the backings off of them, I'm getting ready to put this on here. So let's get this situated onto the base. We want that to line up. If you're off just like a 16th or a 32nd, that's not going to hurt anything, because you're going to put a fence around it. The next thing we're going to do is our axle holders. Right. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now we need our ice pick or whatever you punched holes in your axles with. Now, I'm not going to put the cardboard on mine. I'm going to put the wooden wheels on mine, only because I like the wood better. You can put the cardboard wheels go on exactly the same way these do. So there's really no difference. You're still going to need the beads and all that. So if you put the cardboard on, it's just like this one. Alright, now I'm going to put these on top of each other, and that way when I poke a hole through them, excuse my arm, when I poke a hole through them, they will be lined up. If you do it separately, they're not going to line up quite perfectly, and then your wheels are not going to roll good. So that's why I do it like this. Now, you're not going to put it right in the center. You're going to come down. Your axle is going to set in like that, and we're going to glue it in. But you're going to come up a quarter. No, the wooden ones are a quarter of an inch. I'm sorry. The wooden ones are a quarter of an inch. And so 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of your axle, I'm going to mark mine with a white marker. You can mark yours with pencil, or if you have a white marker, that'd be fine. So I'm just going to have to mark one, because like I said, we're going to go all the way through and make sure that they're the same. Make sure they're even on the sides and the top and bottom. Now, 1/4 of an inch is right here, and that's dead center. Looks like I did pretty good that time. Alright, now then, I'm going to go, there we go, and I went all the way through. Now do the other one the same way. And it's 1/4 of an inch. I was off a little bit right there, but I can mark it. There we go. Okay, now I can go through there. Okay. Now get my skewer. I thought I lost my skewer. I had it at the back of my table. Alright. Okay. Now let's make sure they go through. Yep, go through perfect. Alright. That did good. So see, they fit good. Alright. That one works. Now let's see if this one works. Yeah, a little tight, and that's the way you want it. Alright. Now then, you're going to need your glue. Now you can use your glue gun here, or you can use your tacky glue, whichever one you want to use. I think I'm going to use my glue gun. I want to make sure it stays. So I'm going to glue right inside this notch right here. Okay. And I'm going to put, now the hole will go down. This is the floor. This is the bottom. You want the whole of your axle holder down on the bottom. Now the top of your axle holder will be even with your floor. It'll be flush with the floor. So we'll put that in, let it sit, go over here, and we're going to glue this one in. I got that on the paper a little bit. Get it off of there really quick. Okay, now this one goes the same way. Make sure it's even with the floor. Okay, and you don't want it crooked. Okay, that one's a little crooked. I have to straighten it up. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Now, you don't want them slanting in or out. Try to get them as straight with the board as you can, and then as even as you can this way. So, and make sure they're flush with the floor. You can run your hand across and you'll just barely feel them. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. I'm going to get this ready. Alright. Now remember, the whole of your axle holder goes down, and it should even up with the other one. So there's that one. Okay, there's that. Now I'll do this one. Okay. And this one goes down. If you have a hard time getting it in, I don't, it's fine, but if you do have a hard time, just kind of snip out a little more room for the axle holder. Don't cut your axle holder. You're going to need that strength to hold that in. Okay, now this one is a little crooked. I'm going to have to bring it back a little. There's that one. That one. Okay, there's that. Now then, a little tricky part, and I need to be sure I get this right. Now you need your beads. Get this open. Okay. Now, I did mine in 2 colors because I didn't have enough of the one color. So what I'm going to do is put the white bead on the inside, and then the red bead on the outside. Okay. All right. You need a bead. You'll need a bead in here first, So go through your axle holder, through your bead. Okay. Looks like I'm going to have to, there we go. Where'd my bead go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, there we go. Now, hold your axle holder so it doesn't wiggle back and forth, otherwise you're going to break it off. And put one more bead on before you go through the other axle holder. So you're going to need another bead inside. So you got 2 beads here. They're inside the axle holders. Now, slide your skewer through the last axle holder over here. And since I haven't cut off that tip yet, that really helps to get it in that hole. Be careful as you push them in, because you can really pop those axle holders off. So just kind of wiggle it back and forth. You're not going to need a whole lot, but you're going to need some. Then when you get a certain amount, you're going to glue those. There we go. You're going to glue those beads in place. Make sure. Another thing, you can turn that. There we go. You can turn that, and sometimes it helps. Okay, now push your bead up against your axle holders and get your glue. You're going to need hot glue this time. On some things it doesn't matter, but on this it really helps to have the hot glue. Make sure you have enough on this end to put your wheel on and another bead. That's very important before you cut it off. You're going to cut this off, but be sure you have enough room for your bead and your wheel. Let me show you what I mean. You're going to need a bead here. Before I mess up, I'm going to put the white one on. Okay, now I've got a bead here and one here. Now I'm going to put the wheel on. And there's 2 sides to this wheel. I'm going to put this side, the smooth side, on the outside. This shows the spokes where they're glued in. I'm not going to put that on the outside. I'm going to put it on the inside. That way people won't see it. Now the wheel goes in here. And then the other bead, the last bead, goes up against the wheel. Just like that. So you've got a bead, your axle holder, a bead, your wheel, and a bead. And you end up with that bead. Now on this other end it's the same way. But I'm going to glue these last 2. I'm going to take this off and glue these 2 beads in place. You can glue the top and then turn your bead, and it will spin the glue around the skewer, and that helps it to stay in place better. Okay. Now I'm going to do the other one the same way, and I can also put my bead on this end now. Since it doesn't have a point, it's a little harder to get through that hole. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to glue those 2 beads in place. Okay. I'm going to spin them around a little bit, and that will distribute that glue around also. All right. Now then, I'm going to let that set a minute. Now then, I'm going to put the wheel on the end here, and then I'm going to put the bead on here. And I'm going to glue that up pretty snug. It will still turn, but I'm going to glue it up pretty snug. Now, excuse my arm, but if it was in the way. Now I'm going to put, put this one on, and then put another bead on. Okay, now I'm going to glue those beads in place, and you'll have these wheels done. These will be done. Make sure that's up good and snug, because otherwise your wheel's going to wobble, and you don't want that. Okay, now I'm going to glue this one. I have to turn it around so I can get to it. I hope I'm in the frame. Okay, there we go. Alright, now pushing that up really snug, holding it there so it will dry. It may look crooked in the camera, but it's not crooked. It's pretty straight. Okay, now that's how that wheel is done. Now I'm gonna cut off the ends, and I need my needle nose pliers for that. And I'm going to lay it right up against the bead and snip it off. There we go. I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing right here. Alright, there's that. Now there's those wheels. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around, and I'm going to do the other wheels. Okay, now to save camera time and your time and my time, I'm going to shut the camera off, and I'll be back when I get these other wheels on. Alright, see you in a few. Okay, now it's time to make our templates. This is if you're going to make more than one wagon, or if you're going to make this wagon, they're going to come in handy, is what I'm trying to say, because you're going to need more than one wall. This way you can make two walls and not worry about having it right. Okay, the first piece is your two side walls. They're exactly the same. You're going to have to cut two of these out of chipboard, but the template, you have 5 1/2 inches across and 6 inches down. Now if you make an oval window for your wagon, it comes in from this is the inside part of the wall, so it comes in 1 15/16 from the edge. Now when you cut out the chipboard, it's going to be just like this, but when you cut out the paper to cover the chipboard, you're going to add 1/2 inch all the way around, including in here. Okay, now the bottom of your window is going to come 2 1/4 inches from the bottom. So we have 2 1/4 and 1 15/16. And this is the inside. And remember, you'll cut 2 chipboards out of this. That's your left and your right walls. Okay, now this is the front wall, and okay, it's 8 inches from the top to the bottom. From this very center up here to the very bottom down here. Now it's 5 1/2 inches across, I'm sorry, and 8 inches down. There'll be a corner right here and one right here. This is what matches up to your walls when you get ready to assemble. Now you'll only cut one of these because this has the door opening. This is the front. You only need one of these. Your door comes in 1.5 inches from the edge. Then when you cut your paper for this, you also add 1/2 inch all the way around, including in the door, because you're going to fold all that back onto the chipboard. So you only need cut one of these of chipboard. Okay, now the door for the front wall is 5 inches tall and 2 3/4 inches wide. Now on this, you're going to leave 3/8 of an inch all the way around. Well, no, I take that back. The top is 1/2 inch, but the two sides are 3/8 of an inch. So measure in 3/8 and draw a line, 3/8 and draw a line. And then 1/2 inch up here and draw a line. You'll cut out, when you cut out your chipboard, you're going to cut out one side and across the top. Then you're going to score this side. That's for your door opening. And this will be made out of one piece of chipboard. Okay, this is the back. Now, if you want an oval to match your sidewalls, an oval window to match your sidewalls, you only need one of these. It comes in, okay, it's centered in the wall, and this is also 8 inches from the top to the bottom. What you can do is take the chipboard, the template for this, and make this one. It'll be exactly the same. Now, to get this curve, you're going to measure up 6 1/8 inches. Let me show you. There we go. You're going to measure up 6 1/8 inches up. That's where that little corner is. That's where your walls match up. Now, take a bowl or some rounded object, a saucer, anything, a lid, and lay it down on here, and then let it match up on this corner and at the top. Usually a saucer or a small bowl will work. Some lids will work as well. I've tried several of those. So your big lids, as long as they match up here on the two corners and here at the top, then you can draw around it and make your archway. Okay, you only need one of these. Now, your oval comes up 2 13/16 from the bottom. And then your oval is 1 9/16 across. 2 1/8 inches high. Now that's for your window. And I failed to measure in. It comes in 1 7/8. 1 7/8 from the right side. So across here is 1 7/8. Okay, and you only cut one of these. Now, if you want a square window, it would be cut the exact same way, except your window's going to be square. Now, I have these dimensions. You can make them any size you want, but I have them 2 13/16 from the bottom, 1 7/8 from both sides. The square is 2 1/8 high and 1 5/8 wide. Now, like I said, you can make it any size you want. This also has the 2 corners for the walls. You come up 6 1/8 inches. You only cut one of those. Okay, now this one is for the Tyvek. It's 5 inches across and 2 inches wide. 5 inches long and 2 inches wide. And you'll find out about that later. But this does not get cut out chipboard. It gets cut out of Tyvek. Okay, one more. You can do this if you want, or you can just measure it. But you're going to have to use the template for paper and chipboard as well, so you might as well use a template. Makes it a lot quicker. 7 inches across and 9 inches down. And this is your roof. So that's almost all the templates. All right, now the next thing is a template if you want to make it for your hinges. We're going to need several hinges. We're going to need, I think it's 8 of them. And they're 1 inch wide and 5 inches long. And you're going to cut several of those out of, not chipboard, but out of craft cardstock. And craft looks like this. It's a kind of a brownish looking. If you don't know what craft is, I didn't know when I first started out, so there's somebody out there that doesn't know. Craft is a it's a sturdy, fairly sturdy cardstock, and it's this color. Okay, the next thing, we're going to cut out the chipboards, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're getting ready to cut out the paper and the chipboard from our templates. Your first template should be the sidewall. This will be cut out for both left and right sidewalls. Okay, the template is 5.5 across and 6 inches down. So the width of your wall will be 5.5. The height of your wall will be 6 inches. Your window should be cut out, and it should be at 1 15/16 in from the right side, and up from the bottom it should be 2 1/4. If you're doing it like I am, you can do it any way you want. Make your windows square, oval, round, however you want to make it. But that's how I've got mine. Okay, now your template, you're going to lay down on 2 pieces of chipboard. You're going to cut them out, and you'll have 2 of them. One will be for the right, one will be for the left. The same as your chipboard. Okay, I mean your template. All right, now then, we're going to cut out 2 pieces of paper. I've chose these for the outside walls, And the outside walls are, you're going to lay your template down onto your paper. You're going to cut a ½ inch, measure a ½ inch away from the edge of your template all the way around. You're going to have a ½ inch on all 4 sides. The reason is, and also in the center, the reason is you're going to turn this in on your chipboard, and I'll show you why later on. Okay, so you're going to do 2 pieces of those. Now that is, I've chosen 2 of these. One is for the left side, one is for the right side. So I've cut 2 of the same. Now, this one is exactly the same size as your, got upside down, as your template. You do not have a ½ inch around. This is exactly the same size, and you'll cut 2 of these of your chosen paper. So you've got one for the right, one for the left. Okay, now then, the next template, I'm going to reach over here and get it. The next template, you should have a template for your door. It is 5 inches high, and it's 2 3/4 inches wide. Now then, you'll cut in, you'll measure in 3/8 of an inch on this side and on this side, but you're going to measure in 1/2 inch from the top. That is going to fit over your door frame on the front. So you'll cut that out of your chipboard. You only need to cut one, and then you'll cut in on 2 sides. You'll cut in here and then across the top. Now, depending on how you want your door to open, I've got mine opening this way. So however you want your door open. This is the front of my my wagon, so it's the outside front, and that's how I want the door. Now you can push it in or you can push it out. You'll want to score along this edge right here. I'm not the edge, I'm sorry. 3/8 of an inch in. Score it so that you can open your door, and yeah, so you can open your door. All right, now there's that template. Now the next template, you're going to lay down on your chipboard, and you're going to cut just one of these because you only need one for your front door. Okay. Now this one is this is the front wall. Your door will fit on it. Let me get the door. When we get ready to assemble it, it will fit right there, just right there on the front. Okay. Now I've cut the chipboard. I turned this the wrong way, but it still comes out the same. So that is cut like that. Yeah, like this. Here we go. All right. Now you'll cut one chipboard, and it's 5 1/2 across, 8 inches high, and then you'll cut your curve, and it will start at the 6 1/8 inch from the bottom. And then your door will come in 1.5 inches from the right side and 2 inches from the left. That should be, and then your door opening should be 1 15/16. Okay. Now if I'm going too fast, you can always slow this down, or you can stop the video and back it up, however you want to do it. All right. Now, you're going to, out of your paper, you're going to cut 2 of these. You're going to need an inside paper and an outside paper. What did I do with my outside? Here it is. Okay. Now, you're going to need, this is going to be cut like this. and you're going to add 1/2 inch all the way around, including the door here. And then that's for the outside paper, that on the outside of the wagon. Now on the inside, you'll do the same thing. You're cutting exactly the same as your template. And I'll show you why later on. Okay, now, the reason I showed this one was in case you wanted to make your square window. You'll make it just like the other template. If you decide to do a square and you've cut out this template, add 1/2 inch all the way around, and then including the window, because you're going to fold that in, and then make one exactly the same size as this. So that's for your front. Now for your back, we're going to do the same thing. You need one cut of the template here, and this is your back wall. Now I've made an oval for the window, and you're going to cut it up at 2 3/4 inches. That's the bottom of the oval, and then it comes in 1 7/8 if you decide to make an oval cut. Now your template should already have your curve up here at the top, and it's here's your 1/2 inch cut on the outside. You'll add a 1/2 inch all the way around, just like you did the front, and then a 1/2 inch, or I'm sorry, in the window you'll have to do 3/8 because 1/2 inch is a little too big. But you'll cut that one, and then the other piece of paper goes on the inside, and it's cut exactly to the template. All right, now we have one more. Sorry about the arm. Okay, now this template is the roof, and on this one you only cut one piece of chipboard, and then you'll cut one exactly the same size as the chipboard or your template, and then one with a 1/2 inch all the way around. So all your templates, when you lay them down on the outside papers, you add a 1/2 inch, with the exception of the door frames. It's 3/8 of an inch. Okay, so let's get started on the assembly. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start putting the paper on the chipboard. Now, I hope you've picked out your papers and cut those out, got those ready. What we're going to do now is put the paper on the chipboard. You're going to need your score tape or your ATG tape, whatever you're going to use to glue this on. I'm going to use score tape because it doesn't bubble the paper. If you use the liquid glue, I guess if you're careful and spread it around maybe with a brush, it won't bubble too bad. But I've always experienced it making humps in the paper, and I don't want that on mine. So I'm going to use the score tape or ATG gun. I like the score tape better. So here we go. We're going to put around here in the 1/2 inch, we're going to put right around the edge score tape, and then on the inside where the line is, right here, we're going to put score tape in here and then kind of fill in here. So here we go. Now when you get to the when we get ready to do the corners, we're just going to snip the corners off. So if you don't want to put the score tape up all the way to the corner, that's fine too. I almost forgot to tell you that, but that's a good thing to do. It saves you a little bit, maybe a 1/2 inch, but a 1/2 inch adds up. All right, so here we go. Be sure and mash it down really good. Just make sure it's good and secure. Alright. Okay, now I have that on the half-inch, the edge of the half-inch mark. Now I'm going to go inside the line here, and then I'm going to fill it in and go around here. I'll be right back. I'm going to do both sheets. Since we have left and right, I'm going to do both sheets that are on the outside. So I'll be back as soon as I get that done. Okay, on your side walls, you should have enough adhesive to be able to hold these against the walls. I actually covered it almost all over. Be sure and have it here and on the very outside around the edge, and then inside that line to where your wall goes, your chipboard goes. Now, you should have it on both outside papers and the, excuse my arm, the inside papers. So these are, sorry, that's the top. These are the inside papers and the outside papers. That goes on your chipboard. This is what I've chosen for inside. I really like that paper. They all correspond. And this is what I've chosen for the outside. I thought that was really pretty. Alright. And I think I got that paper from Walmart, if I'm not mistaken. It was either that or Hobby Lobby. Okay, now what you're going to do is take one of your chipboards, and we're going to actually put this on the outside. On the side of your, the outside of your chipboard. So you're going to remove everything, but do not remove the outer half-inch yet. Don't remove the adhesive, the backing on that, but do remove all of inside and around the window. Okay, let's get started. We'll take this off. Then we can start assembling and as we go. Sometimes it's easier if you use the craft knife. Your fingernails don't quite do it. At least mine don't. Okay. Now I took a bone folder. You don't have to take a bone folder. You can take anything, but anything kind of flat. And be sure and push down on the paper if you're doing this, the score tape, to make sure it sticks good. Once it sticks, it does not come up without tearing the paper. If you get it in the beginning and you kind of mess up and you haven't pushed down on it, sometimes you can take it off and readjust it. But don't push down on it until you're ready, because it will stick. It will stay right there. That's what I like about it. It's very strong. And I've made several albums with it. Now I'm going to remove all the backing on the score tape except the outer half-inch allowance. And you'll see why in a little bit. When we get ready to assemble it, you're going to need that space first to not be glued yet. Now I'm going to take it off here, but not the half-inch. So I hope you can see that. There's that one. I've got that one. And then this one. Alright. Now then, let me get rid of this. here. Now then, I missed a piece. There we go. Okay. Now, line it up. Make sure I'm in frame here so you can see it. Line it up with your lines, and there you go. Now, I always take mine and turn it over, push it down really good. That makes it stick good. Okay, now, in here we can snip this every few, well, not inches, but every little bit. Give it a snip so that it will glue inside. Okay, now, can I take this and push it in so that it glues down? Alrighty. Now when you're gluing down the front and back walls, you're basically going to do the same thing. You're going to cover the walls pretty well with your adhesive, whatever adhesive you use. But you're not going to do the side edges. You're not going to glue this, take the backing off. Okay, there's that one. Now, we're going to move on to the next one. Make sure this is it. So I'm going to take this off, and do not put the front, the inside, do not put the inside paper on yet. And you'll see why a little bit later. But don't put these on yet. Just set those to the side, and we'll do that a little bit later. Right now we're going to finish this up, and when I take all this off and I have it glued down, I'll be back.